Yo, what up guys? Paul here from Paul's Game and Fish, bringing you another build video for the Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind. This build video is a heavy armor Magicka Warden healer. It's designed with small scale, battlegrounds, and sewers in mind. However, the heals are large enough to handle bulk healing in a Zerg. Not necessarily buffing in a Zerg though, so do keep that in mind if you do decide to play this build. Getting into it, let's start with the stats. On our front area heal bar, your spell damage will actually be 2300, and your recovery, I believe I can buff that. Your recovery is at 2100. Almost 37k maximum magicka, and in battle, you're at 26,000 maximum health. It's just once you heal yourself with a green balance ability, it will give you 10% more additional health. And then buffed, we are at 20k resistances on our front bar. If I can get that buff back up just to make sure. Yeah, so we'll just about 20k resistances. Once I get the rest of my passives in heavy armor, it will be. We're at 2.7k crit resist. We are an Argonian, obviously. And I am running Witch Mother's food with the Archernach Mundustone, and I am a vampire. Getting into it, before we get any farther into it though, I do want to mention I am still missing a few passives as vampire and a few passives in heavy armor too, because I switch this guy over from a light armor build to a heavy armor build, and I'm experiencing a lot more results out of heavy armor. So getting into the skills, actually let's start with the gear. I'm pretty sure you guys will be more interested in the gear. As a warden, your blue Betty counts as a pet. So Necropotence is ridiculous. It's going to give you 3 pieces of maximum magicka. The 4th piece, when this is gold, it's going to give you 4k max magicka. That's about 385 to 390 spell damage. Is what that 5 piece is equivalent to. So with that, it makes your heals a lot stronger, and it's an easy buff to keep up because you're always casting your Betty, because it's going to give you your magicka return. It's going to give you your major spell power, and also it's going to remove a debuff from you as well. So Necropotence is awesome on any type of a warden. Our next 5 piece that we're running is 5 piece Seducer. It's going to have 2 recovery, 1 max mag, and then reduce the cost of your abilities by 8%, and then we're using 1 piece Kina. I want all of these to be impenetrable, but I do have a infused helmet. And then everything is enchanted with magicka. The jewelry is necro, 2 spell damage, and 1 magicka recovery. The weapons are double restoration staffs. I have an infused restoration staff on the front because I'm not necessarily getting hit too much when I'm healing a bulk area of a group. So this way I can get a lot of spell damage, and it's going to stay up with about a 1.5 to 2 second downtime. This way here you have some really good heals coming off your front bar. Then your back bar, we're going to run defending. So that way we're running about 25, almost 26k resistances on our back bar. And it's going to allow us to escape. It's going to allow us to self-heal and preserve through that ultimate pop that they want to do on you. Getting into the skills. Now, these stats are going to look a tad low. I'm not going to be able to get my weapon power buff to show you the fullest potential of it. But Enchanted Growth is going to heal for 8k for everybody in front of you. It's also going to give your guys 10% magicka and stamina recovery. Corrupting Pollen, I don't necessarily use this for the heal. It is a pretty good heal, but whenever I put it down, I do tell my guys to activate the synergy because it's going to give them 14k over 5 seconds. I always make sure to hollow that out. But the biggest reason why I use it is Major Defile. So that way when they're fighting people, I don't cast it on my teammate, I cast it where the enemies are. So once my guys see where the area is on the ground, they know to run to that area or fight the guys in that area because they know that they're not going to be able to heal as much in there. Healing Springs, I use this as a kind of just like a filler. So whenever I start out the battle, I'll Healing Springs down, put down my debuff, and then I'll start off my heal. And I fell off my rock. I'm not going to go back. Can I go back up there? Yeah, let's go back up there. But anyways, it's cheap. You're going to get magic return off of it, and it's a pretty decent dot. Or hot, excuse me. Now, Mage Light, the one that you're going to want to take is the one that's going to reduce the damage. Can I morph this now? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Mage's Guild. Yes, I can. Inner Light. Do I want to do that? It's not worth it, is it? It's not worth it. We're going to take Radiant Mage Light. A little bit confused right there because I did kind of want to take the Maximum Magicka one just because it would help out your heals a little bit more, but what's the point if you get ganked? What's the point? So we're going to use Radiant Mage Light on our front bar, and this way here, while you're healing, while you're doing your job, if a Nightblade wants to sneak around you, you're not going to have to worry about getting ganked. It's going to stop them from doing that big burst of damage to you up front. Blue Betty. Betty's awesome. Betty's going to proc your Necropotence. It's going to give you 3,871 Magicka back over 24 seconds. It's going to give you Major Sorcery. It's also going to give you, if you cast it every 8 seconds, which this is free, it's 0 cost. Every 8 seconds you cast it, you're going to get back 4 ultimate. In addition, it's going to remove 1 negative effect from you. So it's okay if you incorporate this about every 10 seconds, just go ahead and pop it. Your ultimate, 75 ultimate, this is going to heal fully buffed. It's going to heal for 10k up front, 5k every second for 6 seconds, and when it's done, it's going to do 26k over the next 4 seconds. Excuse me. So this bar here is if you're healing a larger group, 5-6 players, you're in a Zerg. This is just all that you're going to do, is just keep your stuff down. That's all you're going to do. If you want, you can heavy attack before you put down your Blossoms. What this is going to do, it's going to give you Major Mending on that proc when it does go up. And for some reason, Major Mending is also procking on the synergy as well. So when they're hitting the synergy with the Major Mending up, they're going about 18k. So it's a very good idea to do that. Your back bar, this is where the most interesting part of the build comes in. Your back bar is where if you're with 2 to 3 people, or if you're trying to defend and get away, this is a hilarious bar to play on. So buffed up, Leeching Vines is going to give you back 2,500 health every time you get hit. It's also going to put Lifesteal on the enemy if they touch you. Nature's Grasp, which I am going to morph it to the one to where myself and the target get the healing over time. But Nature's Grasp, buffed up, is going to be 26,000 health over 10 seconds. Rapid Regeneration is going to be 20,000 health over 16 seconds. So with just these, the amount of health that you're getting back from these, I have held 3 to 4 people at a time hitting me just by keeping these dots up and then swinging back and forth at people. You can dot your teammate up or hot your teammate up and then misform out. And they're getting constant healing while you're doing this. You're doing nothing. This is going to give you a minimum of 10 seconds of constant healing on your teammate while you just misform around and just play games with the enemy. So I'm finding that misform is working better for me than Healing Ward, because if I'm taking pressure off of my teammate by somebody attacking me while I'm taking 75% less damage, it's more time that they can deal damage, more time that they can stay alive. While if I use Healing Ward, sometimes I find the ward is going on the person that I want it to go on. Sometimes it's going on me. But Healing Ward, it just goes away so fast. This is giving me 3 seconds of damage mitigation. Sometimes that Healing Ward is gone in a second and a half, 2 seconds. That's the way I'm looking at it, is how long of damage mitigation am I getting per the cast. Ice Fortress, it's going to give me, and anybody within 8 meters of me, a large amount of physical and spell resist. In addition, I'm going to take 8% less damage. I didn't take the other morph just because your healer needs to stay alive, so why not take 8% less damage? Northern Storm, I don't really cast this often. I will if I have another healer in a group with me, and I won't cast my front heal. And if we're fighting a larger group of enemies, I'll use this to slow them down. I'll just tear right through the middle of them. And then I'll have, they'll have movement speed decrease, and I'll have, in addition to my team, damage decrease. But the biggest reason I keep this back here is it's giving me 8% maximum magicka. So on my back bar with Betty procced, where is it at? Oh, let's actually cast Betty and not Ice Fortress. Come on, Betty. On my back bar, I'm almost at 40k magicka on my back bar. So this is what's going to help out your heals a lot right here. Oh, it looks like I might have moved some gear around because this is a little bit higher. So with this right here, with the amount of spell power I get back, that should be about 20, almost 28k. Very nice. So it's a very simple build to do. The Necropotence is probably going to be a little bit harder to get. I'm finding the rings right now are about 25k. Restoration Staffs, for some reason people are pricing them low. I got these for 8k each with the infused and the defending. Destruction staffs are going to run you pretty high on them. You can find an ice staff if you prefer to do something on your back bar differently. You can find them for about 15, 20k also. If you can't find Necropotence, what works good with this build also? So, Transmutation. If you run 5-piece Transmutation, 5-piece Seducer, your heals are going to be a little bit less, yes, but you're going to be more of a support to your team. You can also do 5 Transmutation and 5 Meritorious Service. So when you cast a support ability, it's going to give your guys 3,500 armor, and now you're also giving them 1,400 critical resist as well. So there's different ways that you can play this. You don't necessarily have to be a healer. You can go full support on this as well. And then you can run a destruction staff, and then you can keep your ice down. You can keep your destruction staff wall down. This way here, you're slowing the enemies, you're immobilizing enemies, and you're buffing your team. In addition, you can still do your major defile on the guys as well. So that would be like a tank support type of build that you can do with this as well. It's very flexible, so much stuff that you can do with it, and it's a really easy learning curve to get into. Getting into the champion points, for those of you that do play CP campaigns, myself I do. Blue Tree, probably the most important one. We're going to do 100 points Blessed, 100 points Elfborn. Just go ahead and get these out of the way right out the back. There's nothing else that's going to help out your healing the way that these are going to help you out. Staff Expert, just because you're light attacking, sometimes you're heavy attacking for resources, not all the time. Why not go ahead and just throw this in there? Red Tree, we're going to do 50 into Resistant, 51 into Ironclad, and then 10% reductions into Hardy, Elemental, and Thick Skinned. Green Tree, I'm going to do 19% block cost reduction, 14% Magicka recovery, 10% resource gained on heavy attacks, and I got a little bit of extra stamina recovery in there too, just so that way I can get my resources coming back on that. Now, if you're finding that in a particular fight that you're being CC'd a bit too often, or you're sprinting around, or you just need additional mobility, I would say that you want to take the wings. So when you take the wings, do I have them unlocked? Okay, so when you take the wings, you're going to have to get rid of something on your back bar. So if you're increasing your mobility on your front bar, I would say take away Mist Form on the back and just rely on your healing. So we can put Betty on our back bar, and then we can put Deceptive Predator on our front. So now this is going to give you increased movement speed, but where the biggest benefit of this is coming in is it's giving you more stamina recovery. So now our stamina recovery is at 750 versus 647. So we're gaining about 100 recovery right there. So when you're in battle and when you're breaking free, now I believe we can get more if we cast the rest of our buffs. So 801. So this is going to allow you to break free more, and it's going to allow you to sprint more if you need to. Right now I'm not needing it, so I'm finding Mist Form is actually doing a little bit better for me than what the wings are. Alright, so once again, I did try to do this video in one take. I just don't like editing videos. I figured I'd have just cringy conversation with you guys about what's going on. So I covered my stats, I covered my skill, covered my gears, covered my CP, food. Couple of passives that are mandatory in this. Let's see if I can find them. So casting that Animal Companion ability is going to give you 4 ultimate every 8 seconds. Increase your recoveries by 12%. Everything in green balance is ridiculous. So if you heal anybody under 40% health, you're going to get major mending. Don't forget, if you have your attack with your staff, you're going to get major mending. And then a little bit of resource return. I don't necessarily care too much about that. And then increase your healing done by 2% for every green balance ability slotted. And then this is going to give you 10% when you heal somebody. This is actually what's awesome right here. That's a pretty cool skill. Besides from that, there's not really much to take. Like I said, also here, I'm leveling up my armors still. And then with your Argonian, just make sure that you take everything in Argonian. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, upgrades, however, leave me a comment below. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can make these builds better. Alright guys, you guys have a great day.